The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiamen. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today, after the better part of over a year, we are finally going to be putting all 5 parts of the Stunticons together to combine and form Menasor on this very first installment of Now, of course, being a combiner, there is no packaging for Menasor. He is the culmination of 5 parts of 5 different figures who I've already reviewed. So if you want to see the packaging for those figures, go watch the videos. But let's just get right onto the transformation. No fluff at all. First thing you're going to want to need is Motor Master himself. Now, normally I start off with the figures as they are packaged, and Motor Master is packaged in vehicle mode. However, it is much easier to get him into his combined mode. If you want to see how to get Motor Master from vehicle to robot mode, go watch this video which I posted. I'll keep the link in the description below so that you can actually go and watch and see that. But for now, let's just get right on to transforming Motor Master and getting him into combined mode ready form. The first thing you're going to want to do is, with most of these figures, just fold away the hands on either side of the body and then rotate at the waist. Next, you're going to want to come around to the back here and then unplug this backpack and kind of ensure that it folds up like this and tabs in. As you can see, there are 2 holes right there. 2 tabs right there on the front of the torso. Tabs in and make sure that these 2 pegs are facing upwards while they are just resting there nice and flush. Then you can come around and kind of unpeg Motor Master's head and reveal the Menasor head, which is hidden away in his torso. Wiggle that out and bring that up. You'll see that there's a little tab right there on the base of Menasor's neck. And then if you fold down Motor Master's head and bring up this panel, you can see there's a hole right on the back of his head. You can just tab that, and you might need to finagle it a little bit, but just tab that in there, and then you can raise Menasor's little bunny ears there, which are hilarious in my opinion. Next, you're going to want to just take the white hinges here that are on the arms and fold them up on either side. Then untab the armpit joints, as we'll call them, and bring them to the back. Next, you're going to want to, and I'll zoom in a little bit for this bit. Next, you're going to want to format his arms so that they are turned inward like this, and then rotate them 90 degrees so that the elbow can bend down. As you can see on the bottom of his hand there will be a hole which will tap into that little hole peg right there. Get that to peg in. Do the same thing on the other side. Get that to peg in. And you have that all complete. Next, you're going to want to come around to the legs, and I'll keep zoomed in so that you can see exactly what's going on here. Just turn them at the thighs 90 degrees so that you can get access to the back part of Motor Master's shins. Open these doors and fold up the knees at the bottom hinge right there and the knee joint right there so that they are mostly folded away like that so that only the hip joint remains. Then once you do that, you can take this little tab and slot it into this little hole right here. Just rotate that up using the thigh joint as a hinge and tab that in so that it remains nice and flush against the body. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Open that door, fold the knee away, close that knee up, and then fold that entire section up and into the body. The next thing you're going to want to do is, you just saw me redo it, but I wanted to have it all set up. Take these little tab pieces, the top of the vehicle mode roof, and once again, just reattach them into their normal position so that the windows are parallel to each other. Do that on the other side. And you have a nice base there at the bottom so that he'll be able to sit into the aperture for the legs and arms. Next, you're going to want to come around to the faux cab pieces and untab them so that they can swing down and create something for the arms to latch onto once you get to that section. And that is the completed Motor Master into combined mode. After this, you're going to need all 4 of the main Stunticons. So let's bring them in now. Freeze frame.
You'll never stop me.
Freeze frame, unfreeze, and here the Stunticons are in their robot modes. The only thing you're going to need to do to actually get them into their combined mode ready forms is transform them into vehicle mode. Again, I will have all 4 of these reviews linked in the description below to show you exactly how to do that in depth, but I'm just going to freeze frame them into vehicle mode like this. Freeze frame.
Jake, I never asked you for anything. When did I ever ask you for anything?
Yesterday, you said, Jake, please take me to see chips and ice cream. It's a Broadway smash!
Freeze frame, unfreeze, and there they are all in their vehicle modes. You can then set them off to the sides because we are going to actually need, from this point on, the trailer for Motor Master. This is essentially the body, blood, and everything else of the robot mode for Menasor. It's just essentially the skeleton of the entire thing with the cars on it as accoutrement. So all you're going to want to do is first you can kick up the trailer stand or whatever the hell it's supposed to be called. And then crack the damn thing in half like that. You can set this back half off to the side. And right now we are going to work on this part right here. You can flip up these 2 little squares here and pull up on the center of the side pieces so that they can unwrap from this center black piece, which is very important because this makes up the entire torso of Menasor. To get this configured, all you really need to do is start folding down those hips, which are on very nice tight ratchets. You can then flip out this back piece right here and rotate at the what will become waist to reveal the chest and the Decepticon sigil. From here, you can then take the Motor Master torso part that we just transformed earlier and place it in to the holes right here. As you can see, there are 2 big pegs on Motor Master's chest, and there are 2 giant holes right here on the inside of Menasor's torso. Just press that in, and then you can fold up these 2 little gray panels to become sort of these towers that Menasor had in the original G1 cartoon. And then lock this in finally by flipping up this little purple panel and plugging that peg into that hole right there. And that will officially keep Motor Master locked in place so that he can become the torso for the combined mode. You can take what is left of that little bit and then start folding it up to become a sort of tower that I can show you later. This serves literally 0 purpose, and I don't intend on using it. After that nonsense, you can then bring in the actual back half of the trailer. You can remove the sword accessory, which I'll talk a little bit more about later on, and you can split the damn thing in half again. So what you have right here are the arms of Menasor. You can then split them in half again. And I'll show you exactly what to do with this. So here we have the right arm of Menasor. To get this configured, just fold down these panels right here and then fold them up on themselves. They'll tab in like that. You can fold down the hand like so, right there. And then you can bring in dead end here. As you can see, he just goes right there. And of course, you can remove the blasters, but I keep them on just to keep them stored. And if you line these 2 pieces up, you can see that there are some pegs and some tabs here that will plug into the bottom of the vehicle mode. And there's an L-shaped one there, another L-shaped one there, then 2 sets of just regular old pegs. Once you place them together, the car will then rest on top of this whole assembly here. And now comes the really cool part. Wrap your hand around the bottom half of the car, wrap your half around the front half of the car, and then break the damn thing in half. Those L-shaped pegs actually, in here I'll zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see into the mechanism. They release a button that holds down on this little bit right here, which holds the torso and the legs together. And when it is pressed in, the two pieces come in half. And so when they do, you can have a more accurate or articulated arm mode for Menasor. So after you split this in half, of course, just fold up this little piece right here so that the two pieces of the car are off center. You can do the same exact thing on the bottom, so that that little piece right here that was holding the car together can rest into that little notch there. You can fold up the back wheels of the trailer, and then you can just bend the arm a little bit there, and you have the right arm complete. Now, if you can believe it, the same thing goes for the left arm. You just fold down those panels there, lock them in, fold up the hand, and bring in our friend drag strip. You will again notice that there are some similarities in the holage and things of that nature. As you can see, there are two just straight pegs there, straight pegs there, straight pegs there, straight holes there, and then just regular old pegs and tabs there. There's a little square shaped one where that'll plug in. Once you do just plug that all in, you can do the same exact thing. Break the vehicle mode in half. Bring this around, and you can fold up this piece. You can fold up that piece. You can technically keep these forward, but I like to rotate them around a little bit so that they're kind of out of the way. Fold up the wheels and bend the arm just so you can get a little bit of bend there. The top half of the trailer. Again, split this the hell in half, and this will come out of the center there. Once those two pieces are split, you can fold up this purple piece right here, fold up this purple piece right here, and you can either keep these splayed out or keep these in one place. These two handles here. You can plug this onto the tower piece right here from earlier if you just so choose, and I'll do that for now just to get this out of the way. But these two pieces right here will be the legs of Menasor. This one will become the right leg, and this one will become the left. All you need to do is just flip out this little brick here, which will tab right into that hole, like so. Bring down the rest of the ankle, and then flip out the heel spur. As you can see, right foot, creep, and that will be the right leg. Same thing goes on this side. Just pull out this little piece, tab that into the top. You can also flip down the heel spur first, but it's just easier to pull out the foot in the beginning. As you will notice, there are two giant gaping holes into each of these legs, and that can be fixed. There is kind of a little bit of debate on which Stunticon goes on which leg. Either Breakdown goes on the right and Wild Rider goes on the left, or vice versa. Personally, I am a Breakdown goes on the right leg kind of guy, so we're going to get Wild Rider in to go on the left. And all we need to do to get Wild Rider ready to go onto the leg is fold up the hood piece like so. Be very careful because, again, this is clear plastic. And then fold up the front of the car. Then once you do, you see that there are two pegs there. There are two holes on the bottom of the vehicle mode, as well as two square holes in his shoulders, which will tap in right down there. Once you do that and press in this little purple piece right here, which is an automatic mechanism, peg those in, tab those in, and the door will shut automatically. And so there is a completed leg. You can do the exact same thing on the other side using Breakdown. All you need to do is fold up the hood and the front of the car. Tab those two pegs into those two holes. Line up those square holes on that square peg there. And you will once again close the gate on the front of the leg there so that you have a completed silhouette for the robot mode. After that, it is just a matter of bringing them all together. And I will zoom out for this the best I can. Bring the right leg and the left leg together. I'll turn this off to get the best possible angle. And in doing this, you'll see that there is a tiny little gray elevator piece here, which can be pressed in like so. You're just going to want to hook the white comboner, it's not a comboner, but it's close enough, to right underneath that gray piece, press it up and push it in so that this button depresses on that white piece so that it stops any kind of sliding out and it creates a solid joint. Do the exact same thing on the other side, up and in. So now Menasor can stand. Let's do drag strip on the left here. As you can see, there is a rather large hole there in this purple piece, which has two little pieces right there, which will slide right over the back groove right here on this little nub, which has been revealed from the transformation. Slide that down, and you will hear this click, and you will know that the arm is locked in. Same thing on the other side. Tab those little slots through that little gap, which is running along the side there. Slide that over and press it in. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have a completed Transformers Legacy Menasor. He is quite a large lad. Of course, you can just give him his sword here, which is just absolutely criminally undersized. It looks dinky in Menasor's hand, which is a shame, but that is what we've got here with this figure. With this figure, though, we do actually get some pretty nice articulation. So, firstly, we do have just a swivel at the head, so you can look left and right. No up and down, unfortunately. He does have a 360-degree range of motion at the shoulder, and it can also go all the way out, almost all the way out, thanks to that ratchet joint right there at the shoulder. Bring that down. It's quite chunky. He does have 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, as well as an elbow swivel. If I can properly show that off, like so. It can go all the way around, of course. I'm just being very gentle with it, considering I have some very flimsy camera work right now. There is also wrist articulation, and I guess technically because of the transformation, you can undo the wheels here and then pop out the hand to get this sort of wrist extension, but that's bad. Don't do that. That's cursed articulation. As you saw with the transformation, he does have a full waist swivel, which is just on a swivel joint. Menasor also does have a pretty righteous range of motion at the hips, which can go all the way forward on that very heavy ratchet joint. Can also go all the way back and all the way out, so you can get a very wide kick. Editing King Prime here. Yeah, he also has a fucking thigh swivel. You do have a knee bend, about 90 degrees, just a little bit under maybe, but you can push it. Yep, 90. And then, of course, you do have, as I showed earlier, a full ankle pivot, which can go almost all the way out. It's just a little bit hindered by that back piece there, but you do have a very good range of motion for Menasor in total. But that's enough for the articulation. Let's get some other figures in here that we can compare Menasor to, and this will be the angle for that. So freeze frame.
Wanted me, I wish I knew. I wish I knew you wanted me.
Freeze frame, unfreeze. So here we have Menasor next to a little tiny Lego minifigure such as Luke Skywalker, who is, shrimp next to Menasor. Here we have a normal Star Wars Miniature Collection figure such as the Golden Standard of action figures himself. Dark Times Darth Vader, who again, shrimp. Here we have a old classic, our old friend Classics 06 Optimus Prime. Here we have something a little bit larger. Here is the, for the first time on this show, the Lego Ninjago crystallized Samurai X mech, which is the only thing I can think of that is kind of comparable in size to Menasor, because I don't really have anything that big to compare him to. Yeah. So as you can tell, Menasor is pretty big. I hear that there's a lot of people who think that he could be bigger, and while that is definitely true, since we have seen plenty and plenty and plenty of masterpiece combiners, I don't think we need this figure to be larger, and I'll talk about that again in the final thoughts. But before I talk about this figure a little bit too much, let's get on to my final thoughts. I can tell you everything I really think about this combined mode figure freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. So overall, while this figure is a larger than life, literally, figure in terms of stature and very clever in terms of engineering, I do think it's kind of hit or miss in some areas. My biggest complaint is with the accessories, the sword, which is, I mean, just, it might not look that bad from this angle, but like from this angle, it's just dinky. It doesn't really translate that well on camera, but in real life, that sword is like a butter knife, and I'm just not a fan of it. The same thing with this tower of absolutely nothing. This could have absolutely turned into some sort of extendo for this gun to have a supermassive, blaster kind of like this. I know I've seen upgrade parts. I think the upgrade kit company that does all the upgrades, I can't remember what they're called, they put one out for this kit that extends that gun. But this one right here has 2 barrels for that play feature from the base mode that I talked about in the Motormaster review, and I think it is honestly just crap. I think it could have definitely served from a better gun. I'm not a big fan of how all these cars on him, without that end, without drag strip, without Wild Rider and Breakdown, you would just literally have Menasor without the cars. He's just a dude wearing cars. And I understand that it's hard to make a combiner out of cars, and Combiner Wars is definitely an example of that. And I don't like the Combiner Wars design at all. It's aged really poorly compared to this one. I just think that this could have been done just a little better, but overall, it's not the worst. I do not dislike it in any means. In fact, this is one of my favorite pieces in my collection, and I will proudly display my Decepticons around this as a centerpiece, considering this is, as of right now, the largest Decepticon I own, and obviously the most impressive. But the elephant in the room was the distribution for all of these parts to make Menasor, including Motormaster himself, who I could only find at a convention. It was an absolute nightmare tracking these guys down, and I know in hindsight now people are finding the Holiday 2-packs that have Drag Strip, Wild Rider, and Dead End in there, but Breakdown isn't in there, and Motormaster I have yet to see in a store. The Commander class distribution has just been awful with these Legacy and Studio Series figures. And of course, most recently, it was announced that this entire set was getting a G1 redeco as a release as a set for the holidays, which absolutely infuriates me, who spent months going to different stores and finding these things, because I hate pre-ordering my figures. There's no guarantee. Sites like Dorkside or like Old Republic Collectibles, and I know those are Star Wars examples, but it still works in this context, won't just shut down on us, and relying on Hasbro for everything, despite their flaws and their shortcomings, is not my favorite thing in the world to do. I don't like relying on them whatsoever, and it feels like a slap in the face to get that pack after so many months of searching and assembling this team, just for that to be released, where I can get them all in one fell swoop. But that's not nitpicking. I honestly think that this entire set is really cool. Like I said earlier, I have my flaws with it. Some really specific things that I don't like, but the posability is great. There's so much detailing here in the Greeblies that I can't even show you, because taking it all into account would take ages, and no one wants to see that. And the engineering is admittedly pretty cool. So overall, I think that you should definitely pick it up if you're a hardcore Transformers fan or a fan of the Stunticons like I am. The Stunticons are my favorite combiner team, even over the Combaticons and the Constructicons. So that means I do really like these guys pretty much in every context, but this is definitely the best way they've ever been done, excluding third party, but I'm not a third party collector, so, YOLO. But if you like these guys, or you like the Stunticons, or the Decepticons, or Transformers in general, make sure you share this video with your friends, share it with your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Keeps helping the channel grow and keeps helping me make these videos. That's going to be pretty much it for this time, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.